As a minimalist for multiple years, there are 5 habits that have changed my life and finances for the better. Because of them, I live a calmer, simpler, and more fulfilled life. And my intention with this video is that they help you do the same. What if I told you that I'm projected to spend around 2,000 euros on my hobby this year? Would you think I'm crazy and that I'm throwing away money I could have saved, invested, or used on other stuff? Or would you think it's too little, or too much, or the same as you, assuming you have the same hobby as me? Unfortunately, I was blessed with an expensive hobby, but I'm willing to spend a lot of money on it because I love it so much. However, it comes at a cost of eliminating other hobbies and conveniences from my life to be able to afford it. I'm intentionally choosing and spending my money and time on what I care about the most, and I'm intentionally eliminating the rest. A few years ago, I had different priorities. I was saving up for my emergency fund, focusing on increasing my investments, and overall living a very frugal life. And I didn't have space in my budget for horse riding because my priorities were different. So what matters to you the most changes with every season of your life. Currently, horse riding is at the top of my priority list, but it may change with a change of my life circumstances. So it all depends on what season of life you're in and evaluating your priorities based on that and not other people or their expectations. Because priorities are personal, and what we choose to spend or not spend our money on is personal too. Stopping the loop of constantly aspiring to buy more was an opportunity for me to look around and notice what I already have. And I realized that I'm one very, very lucky gal. Do I have the newest iPhone? No. Have I ordered that brand new lip gloss that's going viral? Again, no. But instead, I have my necessities covered and extra left over for things I want to experience in this life. And that for me is enough. My practice of gratitude started as 3 things I would write down in my journal that I was grateful for every single day, but it slowly developed into something I did automatically throughout the day. I'd noticed myself feeling grateful for the meal on my table, the roof over my head, the community I have around me. Suddenly, wealth took on a completely different meaning. I realized that true wealth has very little to do with money and what it can buy, but rather your ability to notice how much you already have. And this one habit has saved me so much money throughout the years because I've realized I already have enough. I don't need stuff to give me a sense of status or power or a way to show off. I feel no need for that. And that knowledge is so powerful when you actually start to believe it, because at that point you cannot easily be influenced anymore to give your money to something you know will not bring actual value or joy into your life. And this is extremely important nowadays because of how influential social media can be in our purchasing decisions. So limiting social media use, buying quality over quantity, borrowing instead of buying new, avoiding having duplicate items in my home, and being creative with what I already have are some of the ways I approach consumerism as a minimalist. How can I make this 10% more enjoyable? This is a question I took from one of my favorite coaches I follow on YouTube, Joe Hudson. I use it every time I notice that I'm rushing, trying to get to the next thing faster, or simply not enjoying what I'm doing right here, right now. Not only does it make me come back to the present moment, it challenges me to think outside the box to figure out ways to make the task at hand feel more enjoyable. For example, to stay on top of my personal finances, I made this budget spreadsheet that I actually love to update every single week. And it has many different automations that summarize my finances in different colorful charts and tables. I could have stuck with a regular boring spreadsheet, but I never felt motivated to fill it out. So I took a task I wasn't enjoying and made it a lot more fun. Also, I'm not an intuitive cleaner, meaning I wasn't born with a gene that sort of helps you to notice what chores need to be done around the house that day. So instead of leaning into the overwhelm and being hard on myself for not being the best at cleaning, I made a simple Notion tracker. Yeah, If you didn't notice the theme already, I love a good system. From some trial and error, I noticed that I'm not the sort of person that can do big weekly cleans. I would rather do a little bit every single day. And of course, I don't need reminders for cleaning the dishes or taking out the trash, things you easily notice. The tracker is more for things I need to do on a weekly, bi-weekly, or a monthly basis. And it feels so good every time I get to log that the chore has been done. Such a simple act, but it makes me feel so accomplished at the end of the day. So I took something I wasn't really enjoying, something I wasn't that good at, and made it 10% more enjoyable. So whenever you catch yourself rushing to get to the next thing, or you're not enjoying a particular task, ask yourself, how can I make this 10% more enjoyable? The biggest shift I've noticed from intentionally avoiding buying things I don't need is not just how much calmer my physical space feels, but how much more peaceful I feel during my day-to-day life. Because the shift is not just taking place externally, it's changing how you think and see the world. Having less has surprisingly helped me to live more and prioritize experiences over anything else. I don't have the newest car or a closet overflowing with clothes or the most up-to-date tech, but it really doesn't matter to me. Instead of constantly upgrading externally, I get to use that time and resources to upgrade internally, and that seems way more valuable to me. For example, getting takeout once a week and eating it in nature with the person I love is my true definition of a rich life. No external thing can triumph that experience and feeling. At one point during my minimalism journey, I started to become aware of how much we're primed to look at stuff as disposable. I recently wanted to throw away my favorite pair of jeans because they had a small hole in the back. And I remembered the moment I caught myself and thought, why can't I just bring this to a seamstress and spend 4 times less on her fixing the jeans rather than buying new? And that's exactly what I did. In the process, I supported a local small business, got to keep wearing my favorite jeans, and kept them out of the landfill. It felt like a win-win. But I realized how crazy it is that this is not the norm of how the world works anymore. Because clothing is so affordable that taking something to get fixed may at times be more expensive than buying new. And those bad quality items are not worth fixing anyways because they just don't hold their shape after just a few washes. Which is why it's so important to have a few good quality pieces than many shitty ones. And surprisingly, this notion of taking care of what you have led me to start working out at the gym 2.5 years ago. Because again, minimalism is not just about stuff. I started to question why wasn't I taking a better care not only of my stuff, but also my health, which is the most important thing for each of us. And so I applied this notion of taking care of what you have not just to the things around me, but also my physical and mental health. If there are any other minimalist habits that you use that have made your life a bit simpler, calmer, or more fulfilled, I would love to see them in the comments below. I hope you're having a lovely day so far, and I hope you stick around for future videos by hitting that subscribe button.